A very good morning to you. How you doing? It is Tuesday. It's beautiful and we are grateful. And thank you for always tuning in. Would love to know where you're watching us from. 111 That is our SMS line. This is Full Circle and we have an amazing show lined up for you. If you're part of our social media family, please feel free to just talk to us on Switch TV KE. That is Instagram, Switch TV Kenya on Facebook. It's Mukali Mary on Instagram and Twitter, Mukali Mary on Facebook as well. And we will be looking at your messages, be part of the conversation, send in your comments, your opinions, and any clarifications that you may need. Remember, you can vote for us as well as your favorite TV station. I'll be giving you details of that as the show goes on. But talking about the show that we have lined up for you, we will be talking about a lot of love in studio today. We'll have a couple in studio. They are known very well for their amazing studios and photography skills. They tell love stories through pictures. It is amazing. And talking about love as well, we'll be talking to a gentleman who was dating this lady, and this lady got sick, and instead of doing what we've seen so many men do, where they up and run and just leave you, he stuck by and is loving her through cancer. It is a beautiful story, and we will need you to be part of that conversation as well and help us raise some funds towards that. Okay, and if you've been following this conversation with Wale Akinyemi every morning, then you know today we are talking about, you creating or different approaches to creating a timeless brand. And because it's Tuesday, Her Royal Coffiness will be here with a few workouts alongside Andy, so stick around for that. But let's take a look at the quote of the day, and today's quote is from Oprah Winfrey, and it says, "Create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life because you become what you believe." Create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life because you become what you believe. So, what do you believe about yourself? What limits do you have about yourself? What do you think you want to achieve? What is that dream? Is it huge? You can make it bigger. The bigger it is, the grander it is, then that is what you think about yourself. You think that you deserve that. And what should stop you from going and getting just that? And that is also tied in with the conversations that we've been having this morning, this week with Dr. Wale Akinyemi. And you know how we start every single day, Monday through Wednesday. It's time for Advice Circle. Welcome, Dr. Wale Akinyemi. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I am very well. And finally, we are getting to sync the colors.
Very well this week. I am glad.
Great.
This conversation has been amazing, and we're talking about, rebranding. And, you promised that today we're going to be looking at the different approaches to creating a timeless brand, complete with your examples, which are always amazing, that we can use that to look at our day-to-day lives instead of just hearing and hearing. There are actually examples out there of people who've done this and succeeded. And we can't wait to hear what you have for us today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And as always, it's an honor to be here. And thank you for having me here every morning. Yesterday we looked at these 1,000-year hotels and companies, how they, reevaluate themselves and recreate themselves. And we looked at that as one approach. Okay. So we said you need to do an evaluation of where you are right now, and look at the things that you need to get rid of and the things you need to start. That's where we ended yesterday about, recreating. But today, I want to take a different direction and show you another approach. And I'm going to use two companies, as always, and then I will now apply it to the individual. 1905. All right, that's where our story today begins. 1905. A young man called Hans Wilsdorf, and he was 24, and he had a dream, this 24-year-old, and that's why I love these stories. This is a 24-year-old had a dream of building a company that would specialize in making watches, wristwatches, but he wanted his watches to bear a name that would be short easy to say and easy to remember in any language. On the website, I won't tell you the name yet. You will hear the name in a second. On their website, he said, I tried combining the letters of the alphabet in every possible way. This gave me hundreds of names, but none of them felt quite right. One morning, while riding on the upper deck of a horse-drawn omnibus in the city of London, a genie whispered Rolex in my ear. Now, from this simple beginning, Rolex has grown to be at the top, occupy a top seat where luxury brands are concerned globally. Now, how did this company deal with the disruption from Apple and others who were making smart watches? How did they deal with a cultural, what seemed to be a cultural shift where people were moving away from one function gadgets? You know, because now we want gadgets that can tell us the time, can take pictures, can tell us our heart rate, can tell us how many steps we have walked and all that. How did this one function gadget remain relevant and ride out the storm of disruption? Now, in 2018, it's important to this brand, they were worth $11.6 billion, and they account now for 22.2% of global watch sales. How did they do this? Now, when Apple Watch and all that came out, there was an excitement that shot them to the top momentarily, really, but how the timelessness of Rolex and other similar watch brands has worked in favor of the luxury brands. So let's look at how they did it. Number one, they had many firsts. They were the first wristwatch in the world to receive actually a Swiss certificate of precision. First in the world. They were the first in the world to create a proof and dust-proof watch named the Oyster. In 1927, somebody called Glates, an English swimmer, crossed the English Channel in a span of 10 hours. He was wearing a Rolex. Now, and of course, English Channel, the watch was in perfect order after. 1935, Sir Malcolm Campbell broke the world land speed record. He was wearing a Rolex. 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary peaked on Mount Everest. He was wearing a Rolex. Rolex also pioneered the Submariner, which was the first diver's watch to be able to reach a depth of 100 meters. And in 1950,
Dr. Wale.
Began to get very. Yes.
Dr. Wale, are you back?
Hello. Am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
1955, intercontinental air travel was beginning to get popular. Rolex was there again with the GMT Master, which was the pioneer watch that could tell the time in more than one time zone. So it was the favorite of pilots. So what is the key to Rolex being a timeless brand? Continuous innovation and strategic partnerships. They were not just making watches, they were making watches for every season in history and every event in history. They were making watches for icons of each era. They stayed relevant by association. You watch golf, which is seen as an elite game. Rolex is there sponsoring. Tiger Woods is wearing his Rolex. All right. So strategic partnerships. And we look at that TV shows, anywhere you have luxury, Rolex is there. So their success, they maintained relevance by always being in the right place at the right time and getting the right partners to wear their watches. As long as there are powerful and important people on earth, Rolex has a secure future. You can call Rolex the pioneer of influencer marketing. And this was in the early 1900s. That's one case study. Another case study is the New York Post. In a world where newspapers are struggling to stay afloat, because of the pressure of digital and all that, this newspaper sold every single copy they printed by 9:30 in the morning on a particular day at inflated prices. How did they do that? It was a collector's item. That day's paper, people were willing to pay much more for it. A 21-year-old, because the paper was now being bought by non-regular customers. Young people don't buy papers. These young people were flocking to buy the papers. A 21-year-old left his home at 5 a.m. He bought 146 copies at $1 each and resold them. Think of this. He resold the newspaper between $8 and $10. There were cases of people sold a copy for as high as $100. This is what happened to New York Post on the 13th of August, 2018. Now, bear in mind, New York Post was started in 1801. But in 2018, they are creating a wave. What happened? What did they do? On this particular day, the front of the paper had no regular headlines. All it had was the logo of the pop icon called Supreme, the clothing icon called Supreme. That was all it had on its front and back pages. It just had the Supreme logo. Now, Supreme started in 1994, and it branded itself as the skaters, the brand for New York skate culture. That's what they called it. So they had a massive following, a cultish following of very young people. And when New York Post partnered with them, what did it do? Number one, it brought New York Post to the forefront of young people, young minds. Other newspapers were talking about that event. It was in the media. Today, we are in Africa. We are talking about New York Post. We are talking about that event. So how did they do it again? The big takeaway yesterday was recreating yourself. But the big takeaway for today, don't just recreate yourself. Do it in an innovative way. Find out where your uniqueness lies. Trying to be like others. Going to celebrate, because the world won't celebrate you because of how similar you are to others. The world celebrates you because of your uniqueness. To stand out, you need to be outstanding. So innovation is the key to relevance, like we have seen. And having the right partners is crucial. Your associations can make you or break you. There was a case of a young man who had gone to different banks many years in the early 1900s looking for money, and nobody was going to give him money. He came across John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller didn't give him money. Rockefeller said, okay, you know what? Meet me at this place. It was like a country club where they all went. So Rockefeller said, meet me there. And for about 3 occasions or so, Rockefeller just walked with the guy, just walked with him. And then he told him after that, now go to any bank you want. The first bank he went to, they were like, why didn't you tell us you knew Rockefeller? Because just by seeing him with a man whose wealth was 2% of America's GDP, it changed the perception. There's a story. Jesus rode on a donkey into Jerusalem. Everybody came out and put palm fronds and clothes there. It would be ludicrous for the donkey to think everyone came out for him. Can you imagine that donkey now going and telling his fellow donkeys and saying, guys, man, do you see how people came out for me today? That donkey, we are talking about that donkey thousands of years later because it became relevant by association. The Bible says, he that walks with the wise shall become wise, the companion of fools. will be destroyed. So innovate, find where your uniqueness lies, and make sure you have the right partners. That's why it's also important. Watch what you post online. Make sure it's a post that you identify with. My mother always said, show me your I will
Dr.
friends.
Wale,
Yes.
show me your friends.
Show me your friends. I will tell you who you are. So be very careful of your activity. Tomorrow, I'm now going to zero in on defining the brand called you. This will go on next week, where we will talk, we will dabble into things, authenticity. How do you remain authentic and be a powerful brand? Watch this space.
I hope you guys have been taking notes. Thank you so much, Wale. You were right on time for our break. I think you have a clock there. Asante Sana. We are taking a very short commercial break, and I hope you've been taking notes, because this, like Dr. Wallet said, is a master class for you for free. All you have to do is tune in every morning, Monday through Wednesday, to just get this wisdom from him. I'm learning. I hope you're learning as well. We'll be right back after this break.